Good evening, everyone. This is the August 16th meeting of the East Long Meadow Planning Board. In attendance are Cassandra Chersuelo, Russell Denver, Pete Punderson, George Kingston, Bailey Mitchell, and Nina Fazio. I ask at this time, is anybody recording the meeting besides LCAT? If so, just please let us know. Seeing and hearing none, we will move into tonight's agenda here. The approval of our July 19th, 2022 meeting minutes.
I'll move to approve. Second.
Motion to approve, second has been made. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. All those opposed? Any abstentions? Nope. That carries 5-0. All right. Site plan, under site plan review waivers.
Right.
Yes.
Case SPRW 2022-21, request for a site plan review waiver for Elements of Style, a salon at 1 Apple Blossom Lane, Assessor's Parcel ID 59-9-B in the Residence A zoning district. Applicant Sharon Sweeney, 94 Lakeshore Drive, Munson, Mass. 01057.
Is there somebody, the applicant or somebody representing the applicant here with us? Or perhaps over Zoom?
Make a motion to continue to our next meeting.
Yeah.
Second.
Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Abstain? Okay, next item.
Item 2, case SPRW 2022-22, request for a site plan review waiver for James Auto Interior Detailing, a home office at 133 Old Farm Road, Assessor's Parcel ID 41-2-32, in the Residence AA zoning district. Applicant James Hannigan, 133 Old Farm Road, East Long Meadow, Mass. 01028.
Is the applicant here or somebody representing the applicant? If you don't mind just coming to the front here.
Sit down.
Yes, yeah.
And if you haven't signed in,
Gotcha.
So we're just seeing what is kind of the, if you want to kind of explain the nature of the business, the hours of operation, if there will be anybody coming on site. So just a little bit of kind of general information about the proposed business.
Sure. So most of the business is going to be done, or all of the business is going to be done off site. It's going to be mobile. It's usually going to be done at the customer's home. And nothing's going to be done at the house itself. So there shouldn't be any like shipping or anything
Anything of that nature, okay.
towards the house. Yeah.
Do you have any commercial vehicles that are there or that are being stored?
I'm going to be using my personal vehicle
Okay.
for business. Yeah.
Does anybody else from the board have any questions for the applicant?
You don't have any large equipment that's associated with this?
No, other than like a tiny little generator that I can use to be portable, nothing bigger than that.
Make a motion to
I'm your
approve.
neighbor, so
Yes, I expected you to be here actually.
no cars in the driveway.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion's been made,
Second.
seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstained? That motion passes.
Awesome. I also have some business cards if you guys.
I like it.
Yes.
A couple up here.
Sure. We can take a couple.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you very much. Have a great evening. All right. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
Yep. Case SPRW 2022-23, request for a site plan review waiver for the Living Room, a retail store at 95 Shaker Road, Assessor Parcel ID 28-2-0, located in an existing structure in the Industrial Zoning District. Applicant Christine Fazio, 197 Greenacre Ave, Mass. 01106.
Is the applicant here? You don't mind coming up?
No relation. No. No free pizza for me.
So yeah, sort of the same questions as before, just what the business will be about, hours of operation, if any employees will be on site. Now, is this the structure that kind of looks
Like the old Kinder Care, like looks like a house. Yeah.
looks like a
Yes.
house right nearby where Terrell Rental, I believe, used
Yes,
to be.
right behind, yes. So basically just a kind of a repurposing furniture, slash gift. Actually, I was looking at these tables, so happy you're using these and not plastic ones. So that's sort of my mission, is to sort of repurpose nice old quality furniture, give it a new spin, because I think there's so much that's getting thrown away. So and add like little gifts and things. So I'm thinking Thursday through Sunday, like 10 to 6, there'd probably be one employee in store. It's got a great parking lot, so I don't think that'd be an issue. There's no big trucks. I have a minivan. I usually cart most of my stuff in my minivan, or maybe like a small flatbed truck if I have larger pieces of furniture, but I think that's it. I think from the outside, the only other thing I might want is a sign at some point, but I think that's a whole other conversation, right? Just so people can find me, but
Perfect.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Anybody have any questions?
Good use for an empty property in the
that's
industrial
what I
zone.
think. Yeah, I wanted the depot, but Steve Graham got the depot before me, because I always said that would be a perfect antique store, that little depot, but
Would have cost you an arm and a leg to do what he did.
that's what, yeah, when I called about a decade ago and they said there's no electricity, there's no plumbing, I was like, oh yeah, that might be a bigger nut that I want. So Steve was nice enough to offer me the house on Shaker Road, which I think would be a great spot.
That, do I hear?
Make a motion to approve.
Sections have made, seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great.
All those opposed? Abstain? Awesome. That passes.
Thank you so much.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good luck.
Business partners, but.
All right, the next item, Mr. Clerk.
Case SPRW 2022-24, request for a site plan review waiver for East Car Sales, a home office at 389 Elm Street, assessors parcel ID 34-28-0, located in the Residence A zoning district, applicant Wilfredo Gonzalez, 389 Elm Street, East Long Meadow, Mass. 01028.
Is the applicant here or somebody representing the applicant? If you don't mind coming up to the front. So just a little bit about the business, whether there'll be a commercial vehicle, hours of operation, anything of that nature, sort of just similar to the previous.
Okay, so I got my own commercial vehicle. It's gonna be, the business is gonna be online. Gonna call East Car Sales. And yeah, basically.
So is that commercial vehicle stored somewhere when it's on the
That's like
premise?
it's
or-
gonna be my pickup truck, so yeah, that's my own business. Well, we gotta put in it as a business truck
Yeah.
because
So is there a garage or an area to store the vehicle on the on the
oh
site?
yes,
or
I do got a garage.
Is it a personal plate or a commercial plate?
Um,
Does it say commercial on it?
it does, yes.
That's okay. Is there a sign on it?
About
Signage?
the
On the side, like on the door or anything?
like with my own.
Yeah.
The name of the company.
Advertising.
Any company, anything on it?
No.
Okay.
I'm not advertising nothing because it's gonna be all an online
Where's your lot?
business.
Where's the lot?
So don't got a lot. My plan is to deliver the cars by order. So I'm gonna post them online. Whoever likes the car, whatever, they're gonna give me a call. And well, if they purchase it, I'll deliver it.
But you won't be staging them at your
It's
residence?
gonna be by order. Like I'm not gonna be storing no cars.
Okay.
So it'll just be the office portion.
Exactly. Yes.
What type of license does that require?
That's a good one. Right now, this is my first step. Clerks, they're gonna give me the next step for it. My first time doing this movement, so that's what I have to say.
So it doesn't answer the question, and
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be a pain in the neck, but I want to know whether you're properly licensed to do this, whether there's the ability for us to put language on the license about no storage of vehicles on the property. You can imagine what our thoughts are. You're on a very heavily trafficked way.
Yeah.
We don't want cars parked, on a public way or, on your property and people coming in and, it looks like a business in a residence zone, which we don't really want to try to do.
That's not really gonna happen. No. Not really gonna
Sometimes
happen.
you use car license, don't you? Like everybody else.
Say again, I'm
And
sorry?
use car license to sell used cars. So you got a license for that?
They're gonna be. I'm gonna try to. I'm gonna purchase like in good condition cars that I'm not gonna have to do no type of maintenance. If it comes to it, I will take it to a shop because I'm not prepared for that. So we'll work it that way.
I think you're missing what we're trying to get at here. In order to buy and sell cars, you have to have some kind of a license from the state so that they know what you're doing, right? I mean, you can't just,
I don't know about online. If you're just passing, I have no idea how that
So
works.
is this the first time you've done this, or so this is a new business?
And first of all, I called the city, and they require me to have this first step. So I think I'm going the correct way, and that's why I'm here.
So you need an
I'm-
address for the business and
Yes,
checking.
I'm going step by step. I'm going to get my license. Really how it goes, but I'm here.
I get it.
okay.
Yes. So I guess I would make a motion to approve with the following amendment attached to it. That whoever is the licensing authority, if it's certainly the town, that we require that their language be attached to or included with, that there be absolutely no vehicle stored on the property or on a public way associated with the property in question.
And I don't know who gives out a license. I don't know if it's a town or state. I have no idea.
So we have a town councilor here who I believe is on the ordinance committee as well. Is if I could bother you, Marilyn, is there a permit, is a permit through the town council?
A
Yeah.
used car license,
Yeah.
used car license. The council has dealt with one used car license since we've changed our government. And that was for buying cars online.
Yeah.
Sort of a trader's license. That was dealt with in terms of restrictions in the license so that there would be no sales at the home of record, which would be his residence.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm not sure how, I couldn't hear all of what you were saying back here. I'm not sure how you can acquire cars to resell without having a license.
Well, he said this is just the first step.
Oh,
to-
gotcha.
Yeah, and then he would take the next appropriate
Then you're gonna
steps.
come to see us.
Yeah, he,
But the process would then go through the ordinance committee or the town, the
I would go
council.
to the town council.
yeah, okay, all right.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay.
So I would still make the motion with the amendment, so at least we'll let the town
Second.
council know what our thoughts are.
Motion's been made, seconded. Any further discussion?
Just quickly looking online, there's something called the Class 2 dealer's license, which Massachusetts requires. And just so he's aware of that, but that's what.
And I'm making this step happen because I don't want to bother my neighbors, and I think this is pretty decent and correct. Don't want to be bunch of cars spread in my house, and I know that's going to be a problem. So
Yeah.
I'm just trying to avoid it.
All right. With that, no other motions have made, motions been seconded, no other discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? No
Great.
abstentions? Great.
Yep.
That passes unanimously.
Good luck.
Thank you
Have a good night.
as well.
Case SPRW 2022-25, request for a site plan review waiver for Studio by A, home office at 50 Forbes Hill Road, assessors parcel ID 95-46-4, located in the Residence AA zoning district, applicant Ashley Ahmed, 50 Forbes Hill Road, East Long Meadow, Mass. 01028.
Doing this evening. So you probably may have heard some of the other questions already. So just sort of an explanation of the business, what'll be happening on the property, any commercial vehicles, so things like that. If you want to start.
Mine's pretty easy. I do online jewelry sales and pretty much make my own hours. And I ship everything out, so I don't have anybody coming to the house or anything.
Related to Nick?
He's my brother-in-law.
With that, any other questions?
Sounds
Good. Sounds pretty straightforward.
Motion to approve.
Motion's been made.
Second.
Seconded.
Third.
Sure. Any other discussion with that? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Passes, carries unanimously, so.
Oh, thank you. Do I need to sign?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't bring up.
Sign.
I'm clean.
All right. So next item, Mr. Cook. Or do you want to wait?
Finish that
Yes.
again.
Also, the applicant from the first agenda item arrived. If you
Oh.
are interested in going back to it.
Okay.
How about, let's get through the,
Last one.
Yeah.
And then you want to go back to
yeah,
it.
that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Case SPRW 2022-26, request for a site plan review waiver for C.J. Antique Institute, a retail store at 174 North Main Street, assessors parcel ID 15B-18-22, located in an existing structure in the business zoning district. Applicant Claudette Stevenson, 490 Roosevelt Ave, Springfield, Mass. 01118.
The applicant here. Evening. So just looking for some information on the business, what will be happening on the premises, and if there's any commercial vehicles that'll be on the property.
It's an antique vintage store where we sell small items, collectibles, costume jewelry, glassware, figurines, very small items. There's no commercial vehicle that will be there.
Will the items be stored on the premises, or is this all off premises?
The items are going to be in the store because it's a storefront.
Okay.
So people come in and they purchase.
This is where Kim's nails were?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay,
That's what I figured, yeah.
that's what I figured.
Hours of operation?
We're looking at 10 to 5, Tuesday through Sunday, because weekends are usually, when you get the most traffic.
Sounds good.
Motion made to approve?
Motion's been
Second.
made, seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstained? Carries unanimously.
Good luck.
I already
Thank you.
signed. Thank you.
See ya.
I see we have the applicant to our first item, I think, in the audience. So do we want to make a motion to perhaps
Take it out of
take
order?
it out of order?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's made, seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? The
Case
Item number one.
SPRW 2022-21, request for a site plan review waiver for Elements of Style, a salon at 1 Apple Blossom Lane, assessors parcel ID 59-9-B in the Residence A zoning district, applicant Sharon Sweeney, 5 Lakeshore Drive, Munson, Mass. 01057.
Hi, good evening. So just a little bit of information on the business, what'll be happening there, if there are any commercial vehicles, and sort of the hours of operations for this.
Okay, I'll be cutting hair, blow drying, shampoo, roller sets, perms, color on the residence at Bluebird Estates. There already was a salon there for 15 years. She left 2 years ago, and then I came in because they needed somebody, and it's just gonna be 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, and no commercial vehicles.
And any outside appointments?
Maybe a few, but I'm not advertising it as for the public. It's mainly just the residents. Like my friends and family that have come to see me before can come, but I'm not advertising it as an open salon.
It's pretty much the way we had it with the previous
Okay.
person there.
Okay.
It's been operating without any problems that I'm aware of for 15 years.
Yeah, yep.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion's made, seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right.
All right, wonderful. Do I have to sign something?
Yes, if you're able to. Thank you.
Yes, you grab that. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That next item, Mr. Clark.
Case ANR 2022-06, request by applicant for endorsement of a plan believed not to require subdivision approval under the subdivision control law to combine Herbs Street Parcel 1, Assessor's Parcel ID 13-8-3, Parcel 2, Assessor's Parcel ID 13-6-6, Parcel 3 and Parcel 4, Assessor's Parcel ID 13-9-1, Parcel 5, Assessor's Parcel ID 13-7-5, into a combined parcel, Parcel A 0.79 plus or minus acre lot located in the commercial zoning district. Applicant will plant construction, 61R, North Main Street, Suite 1, East Long Meadow, Mass. 01028.
Good evening.
How are you? Good, how are you? Good.
So just sort of kind of explain, give us a rundown. I know it's our neighbor here that is the item in discussion now. Just sort of rundown of kind of the A&R itself.
So for this, back about 3.5 years ago, I purchased the parcels. It's 5 parcels in total. Actually, it was 4, but it's shown as 5 parcels. Looking to combine those parcels together for professional office space.
What's going to be access and egress off of North Main or off of Herbs?
Off of Herbs.
That's great.
So for the people who might be watching on TV, can you explain where Herbs is?
Right next door.
We're located in the senior center.
So right next door to the senior center.
There used to be something there when I was younger. There was old buildings or houses.
There was a home there. Yeah, that was torn down. So, yeah.
So this is the A&R. All we're doing is approving, putting the lots together. And if someone wanted to build there, they would have to come in the future to get a site plan approval.
Yeah, we're in the process of preparing that for the
Wetlands.
There's also wetlands here, which I'm sure you're aware of.
Yeah, we've already been through the conservation and have an established limit of work line.
Make a motion to endorse.
Motion's been made. Second.
Second.
Second's been made. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Nay. Abstain. Hearing none. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Have a great evening.
Look.
All right.
So public hearing,
Next item, yes.
case site 2022-05, request for a site plan review for the installation of a walkway at 280 North Main Street, Assessor's Parcel ID 14-12-F on a 1.25 plus or minus acre lot in the commercial zoning district. Applicant Chris Buendo, CDB Realty LLC, Suite 1, 280 North Main Street, East Long Meadow, Mass. 01028.
Come up. So I'm going to be recusing myself from this item because of the work that my brother does with Chris. So I'm going to be passing this along to our vice chair.
Well, I will just announce that I don't believe it's a conflict of interest, but I just let people know Mr. Buendo is working on a home purchase for my son to move back to East Long Meadow. So I still believe I can certainly make a decision without being biased.
Yeah, I have to say, I have to look at him at the gym every day too.
I apologize to both of you.
We'll let you get away with it, Chris.
John, if you're recusing yourself, you should leave the table.
Yes, leave the room actually.
Okay, so if you could tell us what the project is.
Well, you have to open the public
Sorry.
hearing.
Wrote it down the wrong one. I would like to open it to public.
You're opening the public hearing. I'm opening the public hearing.
I'm opening the public hearing.
Okay.
But first, we want to hear from the applicant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you could tell us tell us a little bit more about the project, the what, the where, why.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I am one of the co-owners of the Reminder Office Building at 280 North Main Street. When we built the building, the Reminder newspaper was pretty much the main tenant there. We've always had other tenants. Right now, there is only one handicap accessible entrance to the building. And my brother and I in 2004 put a 7,000 square foot addition on the building. In order to access that office space, we need to cut through other people's offices. And so we have, we identified, we used Associated Builders when we did this addition, when we came before the town and asked for the addition to be put in. They had already drawn and engineered this walkway. I just brought it to another architect and had him bring it all up to today's codes. What we've done is we're simply trying to create a second means of egress for handicap accessibility so that visitors to our 7,000 square foot addition do not have to walk through other people's offices. Okay. The walkway will not affect, it's right on the edge of my building, so it doesn't affect our property setbacks or anything like that. I'd like to open up for questions.
I'm trying to identify where it is on the plan. Is it at the left end of the building as we're looking at it?
Do you mind if I get up and look?
Please do.
Okay. So it's actually, we have, trying to get my bearings.
North Main Street.
Yeah, right. Here's North Main. Currently, this is the only handicap accessible entrance. The walkway is going to take us from here into what is currently a warehouse. We're going to create a new storefront right there and after the walkway.
Okay. And don't you have handicap accessible in the back here?
No, we do to the first floor. This is to get accessibility to the second floor.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There you go, it's the public.
Now, any member of the public like to comment?
Make a motion.
Make a motion to close the public.
Ask for a motion.
First, take it back to the board for additional questions.
Any comments from the board?
No. Close the public hearing.
So,
I'm gonna blame him. I wrote it down in the wrong order. He's not here, so you can take the blame.
that's all right. I second that.
There we go. Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Okay. And the abstention? We know he's not here. It passes.
Motion carries.
No.
That was
No.
the vote.
That
Close
was
the
close
public
it.
hearing. Now I'll make a motion to approve the site plan.
You would say,
I'd bring it back to the board again.
okay,
There
and George has made a motion.
Motion to approve the site plan.
I second that.
we go. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? None. The abstention? You know of?
Yeah.
We're clear now?
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
We'll do it right.
Your first one.
You thought you took the hard ones. Lost steps.
Okay.
All right.
John,
You can come back, please.
John, they needed
it's a
you.
learning process.
Let's go.
I know it seems like a lot of people, but it's an open meeting law. You have
I'm
to-
gonna blame him. I wrote it down. I gave it to me in the wrong order.
He's still alive, John.
Yeah.
Great.
Now,
Perfect.
Case
all
site
under the table.
2022-06. Request for a site plan review for a parking lot expansion and the installation of a solar canopy at 317 Westwood Ave, Assessor's Parcel ID 5-3-B on a 4.44 plus or minus acre lot in a Residence B zoning district. Applicant Dan Frieda, 155 Water Street, Brooklyn, New York, 11201.
Yeah. So
Hi there, folks.
yes, we're on a hybrid schedule here. I'm sorry?
Am I too early? She put her hand up.
No, no.
No, that's okay.
I think, yeah. So So just sort of explain.
Open the public hearing.
Yes, we have to open the public hearing. Yes. First, want to open the public hearing to anybody who is speaking on this matter.
Open the public hearing and then ask the applicant, have the applicant address. Yeah.
Yes. Want to explain the application and what will be going into the property?
Sure. I'm Pastor John Chase. I'm the senior pastor of New Life Church at 317 Westwood. What we're petitioning for is improvements of our parking lot, expansion of the parking lot, and the installation of a solar parking structure. It will, I don't have, the company on Zoom will be able to give the specifications, but it will be a parking structure that covers a good chunk of the parking lot, much like the smaller version over at the Reminder Building, and will help us to provide clean energy for the community.
So yeah, I mean, if the developer wants to kind of go into the details of it or the specifics, kind of explain to the public what we're going to be looking at potentially.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, my name is Marian Diffin. I'm from Dupree Engineering, and I'm representing Dan Gafrida, the applicant, and also New Life Church. If you guys don't mind, I'm just going to share my screen so I can go through the plans. All right. So basically the property is a 4.4 acre lot that's in a residential B zoning district. You have the church, the main church, an additional building, and then the existing parking lot. You have a landscaping business to the south, a golf course over to the northwest, and then residencies kind of surrounding the rest of the lot. Currently, the rear of the property is largely just a grassed lawn and then a wooded perimeter around the whole site. And what we are proposing today is a new solar canopy, a parking lot expansion, and repaving of the existing parking lot, which is going to total disturbance less than 15,000 square feet. So just to give you a little bit more background on the existing conditions, because that's largely what's going to get impacted by this development. We currently have just this kind of largely flat grass lawn in the back. Stormwater kind of moves overland, as you can see with the contours across the site, kind of going towards the northwest there. The existing soils are considered excessively drained, and the slopes are around 1%. So we expect that for the most part, stormwater both generally sheet flows across the property and also infiltrates. Now
Can I just insert something? The Lacrosse Association used to use our field. Tom Wilson came in and graded it out years ago, and they put in a 15,000 gallon drainage tank that is on the edge of that parking lot. So for the most part, the rainwater, even from the heavy storms, and runoff from snow removal goes into that drain. So the runoff to others isn't a problem.
Sorry, you said there's a 15,000 gallon tank?
Right, just off to the backside in the open field there.
To the left here or up towards?
Just off the parking lot.
Oh, okay. So it's probably related to that. If only. Yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense because we noticed that there is like a grass depression over here. I'm assuming that's kind of where everything's coalescing on the stormwater. Yeah, so that kind of sort of further kind of points to any stormwater getting mitigated within the property. So the total increase in pervious area is actually going to be 3,875 square feet. So not a whole lot of added impervious area. It's this kind of darker shaded area that you can see here. There's going to be some proposed repavement and actually some parking lot that's going to be removed that isn't really being used today. And I think the question in everyone's mind is how does the solar canopy also impact this? And the solar canopy actually has half-inch gaps, or half-inch to an inch gap between each of the panels. So it's actually considered pervious. Stormwater just goes straight through it. So we really just have to worry about the additional pavement that's being added towards the rear of the lot there. So what we're proposing today is just kind of maintaining the existing pattern that the stormwater is taking, continuing that overland flow, relying on the existing stormwater that's there, treatment that's there today, that 15,000 gallon tank, as well as the existing soils and topography of the site to largely mitigate a minor increase of flow that you're going to see from that increase of pavement. So kind of given how flat the back of the property is, the grass, the woods, the 200 feet of lawn you have to get to before you hit the rear property line, we expect that the really minor increase in flows from the 3,875 square feet of parking lot should be mitigated. And that's about it. There's going to be a little bit more disturbance just from the trenching associated with the electrical equipment and the posts required for the canopy. But as I said, the total disturbance is going to be less than 15,000 square feet. So we're not looking at a ton of disturbance on this property.
How many panels are there?
I believe it's 720. It's going to be generating 240 kilowatts of AC power.
And what size are the panels?
Oh, that is a great question that I don't know off the top of my head.
The
total, I can tell you that the total square footage of the canopy is about 17,800 square feet. It's that red outline that you see there.
The panels will be angled? Will
Correct.
they fall? Will they follow the sun, or will they just be at one angle? That's
Fixed position, I believe.
How visible will it be from the street, from Westwood, or kind of limited in that sense? I know there's a lot of trees currently on the property.
Exactly. The entire property is really well protected by trees. And, you know, there's trees even from Westwood Ave towards the property. You can't see it you can't see the rear of the lot from the street view on Google Maps. And you can see there are trees all along this side. And there's a fence actually running along this side of the property as well. Not that you'll see it because of the building there. But the panels themselves aren't going to be very tall.
Will you be removing any trees for sun blockage?
Oh, no. We actually, the trees are far enough away from the panels that it shouldn't be an issue.
Does anybody else on the board have any other questions before I open it up to the public? So being that this is...
I do have one. So of the total paved area, what percentage will the canopy cover?
That's an excellent question. I don't have that figure off the top of my head, but it covers the majority of the parking lot. If you see the perimeter of the parking lot's kind of here. This is all existing parking lot just south of the building. It looks like it's going to cover probably 75% of the parking area.
So is that a guess? Is that a known fact? Which one is it?
It'll cover roughly 75% of the parking area.
It's an estimate. I don't have the figure in front of me.
This is Jonathan Rowe. He's our business manager for the church, and he's the one that's been working with the solar company to get this project going.
I would normally say it's more than that, but there's parking at the house that's on the property, the brick house that's on the property, and that reduces the amount of covered space. So we're talking, the only space that won't be covered are the parking spaces up along the side of the building that she was just pointing to.
Yeah,
correct. It's really just those parking spaces and the drive aisle right behind them that won't be covered, as well as like the driveway leading into the parking lot.
Thank you.
Does Mr. Jafrida's got his hand up as an attendee? Is he part of your group? Does he need to speak, or?
He is listed as the applicant on here.
Okay.
If he has something else.
I just checked.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dan is on.
Does he still have his hand raised?
He does, but.
Okay.
So
would we like to invite him in, or is there anything? We can invite him in.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
done with screen sharing?
I believe so. Are we done with screen sharing, or I just?
Oh, I can turn off the screen. I just left it up for discussion purposes.
Dan, so I'm not sure if you've heard the discussion so far. I didn't know if there was anything else you wanted to add to the discussion or to the.
No, I think Mary Ann and Jonathan and Pastor Chase all covered it pretty well. I just wanted to. I had my hand raised just in case you all needed me in here for any more of these questions.
Perfect.
So can someone explain me what he's the applicant. So what is the role between?
We're leasing the space.
Okay.
We're leasing our parking lot
okay, great.
to the solar company.
Thank you.
So yeah, if it would help, I can give a quick overview. We will own 100% finance and own the solar system. We design, construct, own, operate, and maintain. The church will get, we're paying to repave their full parking lot. They'll earn lease payments to the church every year for the next 20 years. So there'll be money going to the church, and then we'll be selling energy to local community members at a discount, so people can participate in the solar system through what's called the Community Solar Program in Massachusetts.
The residents of East Long Meadow can participate in this?
Yes, absolutely. They don't have to be residents of East Long Meadow, but East Long Meadow residents can participate.
So with that, I'll open it up to the public. Is there anybody in the public that would like to speak on this item? Hearing none, I will bring it back to the board to close the public hearing.
Make a motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
Motion's been made, seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed or nay, abstain? Okay, and now we bring it back to the board.
Make a motion to approve the site plan?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion?
Yes. So I'm actually, when I first saw this and went through all the paperwork, I was somewhat troubled with the location because, I mean, it's in a residential area, even though it may not be completely surrounded by residents, but it's essentially in a residential area. I don't believe we've permitted a solar project of any kind in a residential area. And I was a little not confused, but am wondering why none of the residents that specifically are on Westwood on the opposite side of the street, where those houses sit up, on that property, they're up. They're going to look down, and yes, there's going to be some tree coverage, but there's not going to be any mistaking seeing 7,000 solar panels. I mean, so.
It's 720.
Oh, thank
Not
you.
7,000. Yeah.
10 times that is a lot.
Yeah, that's quite a lot.
So thank you. So I'm really just kind of like floored that there's no one here, but.
Well, I've had conversations with those across the street. We've been there since 1977.
Yeah, I know it well.
Right.
Yeah.
And
they're all set?
everybody's set. Yeah, next door, Frank, who owns the business next door, he's pretty happy about it. So we do a lot of, bartering back and forth with things for him. So it seems to be pretty well accepted. We have a really very good working relationship with our neighbors. They like us, we like them. I think we like them a little more than they like us sometimes, but it also gives us the opportunity, so we're looking at as well things that we can use that for. Obviously it's there for a purpose, but it's going to allow us to be able to do things that we would normally have to cancel because of rain or things like that. So there'll be a canopy there. Community, we do an Easter egg hunt, and we also do a trunk or treat. Our trunk or treat before COVID actually drew over 6,000 people. So should it be inclement weather, we'd still be able to do it. We do it inside the church, and the people would still be able to be outside. So, I mean, we are looking at the community benefit as well. I'm not going to lie and say that's the main focus of it, but it is something that we've talked to our neighbors about, had good discussions, and I haven't had a negative word from anybody yet.
None of them are here, so.
Yeah, I know this is I think fairly new because when I first saw this, I was reminded of the Reminder building. That was like my first kind of go-to. But I know that obviously what some of these board members I'm sure have experience with, we've seen that solar panels can be now, allowed in certain areas that they previously.
We don't have a good experience with solar companies.
Yeah.
So,
It's been something that that's why I appreciate Jonathan. We also have two of our deacons here in support, and I think one has joined us online. And Jonathan, we were very picky about who we chose to work with and what we wanted to have as a project, because this is my hometown. I grew up here, and I wanted my hometown. I want people to be proud of it. I don't want to have eyesores and things like that. And I think that my wife and I work over the high school as well. So summer's almost over. And I've been able to chat with many of the professionals there, many of the teachers there, the people that work there, and they're excited about it just because of the green energy part of it,
You've got some great paraprofessionals there.
Yes,
It's a different concept. I like that.
Yeah.
Community type of solar thing. The other company wasn't quite looking out for anybody but themselves.
This is not a solar farm. This is a
Right.
solar canopy.
Yeah.
It's very different.
Totally different, yeah.
Totally different. We've approved these. We did it for the Reminder. And I haven't heard any complaints about the Reminder
Milton Bradley's going to do it, but
setup.
that's kind of my
Mayberry
that's my
did too,
reference point.
Yeah.
The others we've approved have really been in
commercial.
kind of commercial areas.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
but I'm ready to.
And this is a church, so,
I did want to mention that, but that's true.
Yeah.
We learned, George.
Yeah, we learn. I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion's been made, seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All those opposed?
Thank you.
Abstain? That carries unanimously.
Appreciate it, folks. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Have a great evening.
You too.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
I might be back there tomorrow.
Good.
Let's
I'll
see.
be there.
Least and above.
All right, so we have our other business this evening.
Before we get into it, I want to thank Bailey for his wonderful letter and the reminder.
Yes, so that was very concise, very to the point.
I don't get the reminder, what was it?
It's pretty much that this is all just conjecture at this point. There's no one's selling anything and no one's building anything and no one's putting in 6-story buildings or.
So for the public, there was a article that was posted about our previous meeting discussing this downtown mixed use.
I was quoted in that one.
District, yes. And Bailey had wrote a kind of a response just to kind of address some of the things that were in the article. So I think it was very good at, I think, understanding that this is we're in the discussion phase of this. And we have, I think, a little bit more information, it looks like, this evening to go over on it. But we're still very much, I think, in the beginning phases of this.
Yeah, thank you. I encourage everyone to kind of read that as well. I think it gives a good summary of what the discussion has been so far. But I will kind of give a brief overview as I start the presentation for tonight. So just to remind the board and the public of the intent of this zoning overlay, it is namely to revitalize vacant and blighted properties in the center of town, improve walkability and multimodal transportation, decreasing traffic, vehicle traffic, and improving and preserving green space throughout the town, and also increasing affordable housing stock and providing missing middle housing. And so the last meeting, we kind of focused on the proposed boundaries. And so I kind of wanted to come back to the board after having individual discussions with each board member, trying to kind of get individual thoughts on the discussion of last time, after they had some time to kind of look it over and maybe generate new ideas. So I I also tried to put this together and have some more reference points this time, because last time in the presentation there weren't really reference points. The formatting on this slide kind of got a little messed up, so apologies for that. I think it's meant to be in PowerPoint, not Google Slides, but it's not working on this computer. So, but with that being said, this is kind of, after the discussions, what I came up with as a general, summarized portion or boundary of what we discussed. Namely, leaving out center field as a discussion point, leaving out any residential zones, and also just focusing more on Shaker and Maple. So I kind of cut out some of these business and commercial zones on the south as well as on the north. There was a couple commercial properties, and we also I had a couple discussions about leaving the eastern portion of the Rotary, all those business zone properties out of it as well. So this is kind of, again, just a preliminary idea of what the boundary could look like. And for reference, most of it is industrial zoned currently, with quite a few vacant parcels, namely the Carlin building, which I have labeled as F on the map. And then there's a lot of business zone properties along Shaker as well. So, so that's kind of just the boundary portion, and we can kind of discuss that a little bit further after I go over the newer portions. So we talked about the dimensional requirements a little bit back before when we were on Zoom, but it was really, again, just a preliminary discussion. This is as well, but it was very preliminary then. This is kind of a little bit more detailed. So I'm not really going to go through all of these in detail, but I do want to just point out a couple things. As I mentioned before, in that proposed zone or boundary, it includes mostly industrial properties, with probably, I'd say, 40% business and 60% industrial. So that I've included the industrial district dimension and the business district as well in this presentation. So we can kind of use that as a reference point for some of the dimensions. So this is the business and the industrial, and just looking at the max heights and different setbacks, just to mention that the max height of the industrial is 40 or 50 depending on the type of use, and the business ranges from 35 to 40, again, depending on the type of use. So I've also included commercial because there's quite a few commercial properties abutting that boundary as well. And the height restriction on commercial properties is a little bit lower as well. So that's kind of note, I would say, as well as the minimum lot area. It's kind of smaller as well. So, so with that, this is kind of the proposed, and jumping off point, I want to start with for the discussion of the actual mixed use zone. So this would include the planned mixed use development use, and then that kind of addition use that I discussed before. That would include, so the planned mixed use zone would be, or mixed use development would be a 6-acre parcel, and would have some setback requirements, some density and coverage requirements that are a little bit different to the other mixed use, which would just allow for, say, a business on Shaker wants to add an apartment or two above their commercial space. right now, they would have to acquire another property because most of the, actually none of the lots along those roads meet the 25,000 minimum lot area, and that's kind of something that I made a decision on. And again, this is all just a preliminary point. So, but I kind of justified that by saying not just anyone could do it. It'll be something where you have to have a thoughtful development, and also that would allow them to kind of reconfigure any parking requirements if need be with the larger lot minimum lot area requirement as well. So, so I think that's kind of a summary of that. You can kind of read through the details. I know I did just send this out last night, and I apologize for that. It's been a crazy couple of weeks, so I didn't have much time to actually finalize the presentation until recently. So I did just get that out last night, but that's the dimensional requirements, and I do want to just again kind of get through this a little bit quickly, so I apologize if I'm moving fast, but there is a lot here, so I do want to leave room for discussion as well. So to the permitted uses, just a general note. I'm not gonna go through all of them individually because it would take a long time. But I do want to just mention that I have color coded these by what is currently allowed in the mixed use village zone that was approved by the town in 2019, I believe. So the green would be permitted uses in that zone, and the orange is special permit required uses in the mixed use village, and then anything that's black text is prohibited use and the mixed use village that has already been approved.
So I'm sorry, what's the orange or orangish?
The orange is special permit is required.
Oh, okay.
So
in black,
that just gives you kind of a relationship to what's been approved in a previous mixed use type zoning that in East Longmeadow. So kind of a reference point there. So all of these are the permitted uses. All of them are already permitted in the mixed use village. And then another continued because it didn't all fit on the slide, and I didn't want to have you strain your eyes more than you already have to at this small text. And so the orange kind of looks red on this screen, but the orange is, again, requires a special use or a special permit, which that's what this is now. So we're on the special permits. The only things of note here is commercial school, convenience store, and veterinary hospital were all permitted uses in the mixed use. And the only reason why I thought special permit would make more sense is you were talking about a 40-acre parcel and a lot more space and that kind of zone. So this would be a little bit smaller. So those uses would require more space, obviously. So and then these are prohibited uses. So again, most of it is most of the changes were due to that kind of that smaller lot size. You're not going to really see a recreational facility of a commercial type out on a 6-acre lot with mixed use, and same with commercial writing, forestry, and then single family detached dwellings. The only reason why that one's included is typically in mixed use in the center of a town, walkable style neighborhood type. You don't want to see a larger building with a couple like commercial on the bottom and apartments above, maybe a couple townhouses here and there. Those are attached. Condos, attached single family dwellings. Those are all, you can have multiple families living in them, but those are or single families living in each unit, but that's really a single family attached type dwelling. So
before you get off this page,
yeah.
Can you actually prohibit agriculture and forestry. I was under the impression that you can't, under state law.
That's something I'll have to look into.
I would suggest you do. I mean, we've dealt with forestry many times in town and also agriculture. And in state law, there are those are things that you're allowed to do under something that has nothing to do with zoning, okay? We have an agricultural law and a forestry law.
Okay.
So I'd suggest you look into those.
Okay, yeah.
So you're saying commercial riding academy boarding stable is permitted?
No, these are prohibited
These
uses.
are prohibited. Okay. Why are some in green?
So those are all currently under the mixed-use village zoning that was approved in 2019. Those are the ones that are green are permitted uses under that zone.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, so again, just a couple of minutes. Just the green ones don't really make sense in a 6-acre lot as opposed to a 40-acre. And then the home office or studio, just my thought process behind that is that's kind of the idea of the mixed use. You have commercial space and residential space. You have office space. You don't necessarily need a home office if there's an office right there.
I would disagree with that. As we've seen tonight, there are a lot of people who do home offices who don't want to rent an office. They just want to use their computer. And we have approved dozens of home offices for that purpose. I can easily see somebody living in a multi-unit building
in the zone.
And
asking for a
permit for a home office, because what they're doing is they're selling aluminum over the internet, or whatever they're doing. And they don't need an office, and you need to pay that overhead.
Right.
So I would question that one.
Okay. All right. And that's really all I have on the slides. So, and thanks, George, for
Bailey?
already.
I'm warming up a little bit here.
Yeah.
But the height stuff, 50 feet and 3.5 stories, it just doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Just to go back, it's actually what I have down as 45 feet.
It's just too much.
And so again, I just want to go back to the current zoning in that area, and we're talking about 40 to 50 feet already as max height. And so we're talking about not really, it's not an increase as to what is already there or what is already allowed.
I would back up Pete on that I think I would look at the business dimensions rather than the industrial dimensions. Because industrial dimensions were put in for large factories, okay? And you look at Milton Bradley, you look at package machinery, those heights made sense. But what we're trying to do here is convert from industrial to business, commercial, mixed use.
It's use, yeah.
And business is the highest you allow is 40 feet, which to me, that's 3 stories easily.
So
just a thought process. I mean, I've got to look through this and think about it in some
I
detail.
agree with you.
It's excessive.
I mean, if you look at the overlay map,
yeah,
those are all small businesses for the most part.
Yeah,
right through there, and there are no tall buildings in that area, with the exception of maybe the church, but which is right on
In
the
town.
Well, your building, there's the
2 stories.
I know, but how tall is it?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, and then there's the little mall there, which actually goes up pretty high.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but
where the attorneys are and all that.
Yeah.
yeah, if you look at Hampden Engineering, they're not that tall,
No, they're not.
and they're fully
I
industrial.
think when you factor in when like a building has like some type of design like that, it puts on a couple feet. So
Yeah,
maybe
well-
2 stories, but it looks kind of like.
Yeah, you put a sloped roof on to make it look a
You know-
little bit nicer.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Okay.
What concerns me is if you put an overlay district where the center square development is, where the restaurant is and all that, and what we're talking about, they could all take that whole thing and raise that whole thing up. To me, it just doesn't look, just wouldn't look right. And particularly coming down the right-hand side, coming up north on Shaker Road, on the right-hand side where Coffee Time is and all that, and the existing old grocery store. I mean, that whole thing could be a wall of 40-foot buildings. I don't think it will look good for the town. When you start going up, when you build up instead of out, your property values generally go down. That's a rule of thumb.
I'd push back on that. I mean, without seeing any research done, which I've done research on this. I mean, I'm not just coming here and just presenting things from left field. I've done research, and I don't think that that's true.
Now, when I think, Pete, about this, I'm thinking like where Bailey lives in West Hartford, okay, which is a really upscale community. You drive through there, and they have mixed use all over the place.
But that's been like that since I was a kid. I was kind of half brought up down there. I mean, that's the way it's been forever.
But it's walkable. It's got the energy.
Northampton's walkable too.
Yeah,
which is a pleasant place to be.
Yeah.
It's just such a change. Yeah, after 71 years of looking at 1 to 2.5 story buildings and looking at the way it's laid out, I can see businesses with owner occupied residences above it, walking community. I think it's fantastic, but to go that high to allow those height requirements on both sides of the road, excluding center field, to me would just feel crowded in and not the open.
So do we
east
know
and
what the
west.
tallest building in the proposed district boundaries are?
The current,
Yeah, do we have any idea?
I don't know the height of the tallest building off the top of my head.
I feel like Town Hall must be up there.
Gotta be. That's gotta be the
Generally,
tallest building.
yeah.
Well, let's take Town Hall out of the equation. Think of the businesses. So
Yeah.
where Mario's is.
Mary's that's pretty tall.
That's probably pretty tall.
That's the old grocery store. That's 3 stories.
Yeah. Anything taller than that? Dan, how tall is, I call it, Dan Bierak's little.
That's only 2 stories.
2 stories?
Yeah.
How about the one to the rear? Same, 2 stories?
Yeah, it's not that tall.
And all those properties on the right-hand side, they all have parking problems and.
But the stuff on the east side of Shaker, you're up against a cliff anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
So going tall isn't going to look horrible necessarily.
My only concern is the tunnel effect in town. That doesn't appeal to me. Going forward appeals to me, a little at a time, but having buildings, that's the same reason why we didn't approve the building that former Jay LaFave had proposed.
Yeah.
When he said there's gonna be a 3-story building, this is gonna be the back of it right here. That's when we went.
Yeah.
Because it was just not desirable.
Well, there are other issues with that too, but.
Yeah, I know, there are a lot of issues with it, but that's.
Anyway, this is, it's a starting point.
Yeah, I had the,
Do some more research and look into it.
yeah, I had the opportunity, I'm sure some others, board members did too. I had the opportunity to walk with Bailey, down the, Redstone, the trail, back up, Shaker, and just kind of taking a look at everything. Got my weekly workout in that week. But I've lived here my entire life, and I consider this, town like a small town bedroom community. I think it would be beneficial to seriously consider, not 5 or 6 stories or something that would totally change the landscape of, arguably the most kind of more iconic area of the community and sort of our kind of center base operation here in town. But I do feel that, something like 3 stories might not be entirely unreasonable. Of course, obviously a scenario where every lot uses that capability probably wouldn't be the most kind of inviting scene.
I agree.
To have that type of tunnel effect. But I think it's something still though worth to definitely, consider, because I think we want to have some incentive, for developers to maybe seriously consider something like this mixed use. But again, I don't think there's anything seriously in the discussion of anything really beyond 3 stories or 3.5 stories to maybe consider kind of the design of the building itself. that might be considered. Those are kind of just my thoughts, but I don't know if
I could just add, I understand what you're saying, Pete, with the tunnel effect. And I think, the height itself, right against the road would definitely create that.
Yeah.
You have all of the dimensions, that's why it's all in one table, in the code. And it's listed as your setbacks, your side yards, your rear yards, so you actually get the full picture of a lot. Unfortunately, I don't have the programs available to me to kind of, put together
Show
an
that,
actual graphic where I could show those kinds of things, because the visuals would be, it would launch our discussion much further. At this point, we would be able to have this discussion more quickly and more efficiently, I think. But I think really what we need to do is kind of challenge ourselves and think with all of it combined, not just the height itself. Because I do hear you, the height, it is scary to think of a 3.5-story building all the way down one road, on the road, but that's just not gonna happen. And also, you also have to think, it's not gonna develop overnight, and even 20 years, 50 years down the road, it's not gonna change into what is allowed on every lot. That's just not gonna happen.
One suggestion here would be, in addition to having the dimensional regulations, that we consider putting in additional criteria for site plan review for this overlay district that might address some of those issues. In other words, just because, like right now on site plan, just because you meet the dimensions, you still have to meet the other criteria in terms of public safety and accessibility and all that other stuff. And that we could possibly write criteria for site plan that could address some of this. I think that would require finding out what other jurisdictions are doing when they do this.
You don't want to leave it so it can be arbitrary. You want to leave it so it's pretty much black and white when it comes to what fits into that envelope.
Right. Well,
Because if you start making arbitrary decisions, I would say, well, you allowed this guy to do it, so I'm going to do it.
Right.
That type of thing. So I think that's my concern.
Well,
Is to make it so that it is this or not this. Not we come in and we discuss, or the planning board, or it may be in 10 years, discusses, well, it kind of will be okay, but I don't really like it. Well, that's arbitrary, and that's not fair to the applicant, and it doesn't follow the, what's allowed. So I think that's what we have to do. Conceptually, I could see this really nice development, the west side of Shaker Road, pleasant walk through, a couple of greens, whatever, buildings, nice businesses, and a place to eat. And I personally want owner-occupied residences. I could see this, it'd be beautiful. And actually, some of the buildings on the east side really do need to be fixed up. Even though they're used, it could be better. So I'm okay with all that stuff. I just don't want to.
And one of the things that was really, I think, we saw in the results of the survey was walkability, the ability to kind of travel throughout the center of town. The people that answered our survey were concerned about that safety right now and looking for those options. So especially if we do have, this mixed use, and there's even some more people that are in that immediate area, it's establishing so that we can make it a little bit safer and just easier for people to kind of operate and mill around. We already have, I think, quite a few people that do go and kind of utilize that, whether that's the high schoolers, middle schoolers, or when we have events at Center Field. So this, I think, can kind of enable that to make it that kind of quality.
We lived on Taylor Street for 17 years, 18 years, which is really close to the center of town.
Yeah.
And it was a ball. My kids were young. We walked to the carnival. We walked down at coffee time in the morning. If you want to take a run down through town, I used to run down Maple Street and all that stuff. And, the restaurants are walkable. And I think it's great. I think the idea conceptually is great. It's just setting the bar a little too high. I'd rather have somebody ask for an exception rather than say, I'm righted.
One suggestion is to contact Pioneer Valley Planning Commission and see what other towns that have done this have done. I think East Hampton may have such a district. There are other towns that doing this, and just get, what do other town bylaws that address this look like? And are we in line with that? Are we stepping outside of it? How successful have they been in steering development the way they wanted it?
Yeah, I think East Hampton would be a really good one because I mean the population's generally similar, and I've driven, that they have that kind of downtown-ish area.
Yeah.
Somewhat similar.
Yeah.
And traffic is horrible. It's horrible.
I've spoken with PVPC. I've also done my own research on looking at comparable towns based on population density, and based on, I think I did look at East Hampton as well specifically, but a lot of just geographically close communities as well. So, not to say that I couldn't do more, and I definitely will. It's just that's what this is a little bit. I'm not just coming up with numbers off the top of my head. It's based off of research. So
I think you're working down the right path. It needs to be trimmed a little bit in my mind, but I'm pretty conservative. But I think you've done a great job, and we're walking down the right path.
I think it kind of reflects a good territory. I feel that this is something that I've gotten from town residents that are kind of interested in the process that we're starting here. With right to center field. I think there could be definitely some more recreational development, and I think there's been some creative kind of development, but I would be a little hesitant to let the floodgates go on a property like that. I think it's sort of, it could be utilized more, but I would not want it to be sort of overutilized because we have so much more, as years have gone by, kind of more limited open space and recreational areas in the community. And that I think is a really good opportunity. I think it's a little underutilized, so hopefully, we develop it more, but I would kind of, I don't know what the rest of the board feels, but I think I do like the district kind of that's in the presentation.
You've already got 4 restaurants right in the center of town, which is all walkable. You have the ice cream place. And I mean, to live down the center of town, it'd be kind of great.
Park the car.
And don't use it. Yep. As long as you can still walk at that age.
Yeah, and I do kind of want to just note also my idea, and I think I mentioned this to John at one point. I did want to have a type of workshop, a public workshop where people could come in, the community could come in and discuss this a little bit more detail and have some interactive posters and stuff like that for the community to get involved a little bit more in different ways. My survey was just the start, and I got some feedback on that, on how some people didn't feel like it was enough. So, and I was already planning to do, a public workshop type thing anyway, but this just kind of gives even more incentive to do so, I think. So there's also a separate project going on with the municipal vulnerability preparedness grant. We're also trying to get some community input on that. So we kind of discussed with them and that team to have like a joint workshop type thing. We haven't had a chance to discuss it with conservation yet, but I was planning on having it maybe one of the conservation meeting nights, which would be a Wednesday night in October, second or fourth Wednesday in October, probably the second Wednesday in October. So just to give an idea, I don't know if I have enough information to kind of set a date tonight, but I just wanted to kind of throw that out there, see if the board had any suggestions for that, because I do think I would like to have all of you there as well, but not necessarily as like a planning board meeting, but just as a workshop for the public to come in.
Well, let us know.
And get that done as well. So I'll send out the details once we get it, more set in stone. But yeah.
You may have to advertise it as a joint meeting to get, because of the open meeting law.
Yeah.
We have a quorum.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I would have to, I do, yeah, I think that is gonna happen, so.
Yeah.
So I will probably, send out
I think that's a good
an
period
agenda that way.
because people will kind of be getting back into the groove of things in the summer. Or people will kind of be tuned.
Yeah, I think it's kind of the perfect time for, my office, and again, kind of for both of these things, to continue the discussion on this, and have, a little bit more, hopefully, people interacting with both projects, who otherwise may have not seen one or the other, so, yeah.
Your choice of the boundaries is much more palatable than before.
Yeah.
I like it.
I do too.
I'm not real hot on the center square development part, but the rest of it, I like it. It makes sense.
So I do have a question on that. So how come we didn't turn the corner, Shaker to Prospect?
Oh,
And to include the church, maybe?
yeah,
'Cause that's all still really business.
they mean like
And
the,
where is the?
The old, right down at the point of Prospect Street.
yeah, it's like right. The church,
Oh, okay, yes. Oh, that's right.
well, the church is between some.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So, but I
Oh,
mean,
so
so
you-
how come we didn't turn the corner?
You're just asking what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so that building on the end is historic, and I also thought, you know, with the way the parcels are kind of aligned right there in a triangle shape, it doesn't lend itself well to mixed use development, and I think it would create a lot of issues in terms of traffic and other things there.
It minimalizes useful area.
Yeah. So I think,
The terrain.
yeah, I thought to just leave it out.
So that building that's now the healthcare, which was a hardware store when I was a kid, right? Well, I don't know if you were here then, but Nooney's
The
Hardware.
ski shop.
And the old post office was there. There was a store there at one time. There was a ski shop. And that's considered a historic building in East Long Meadow?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's old, yeah.
It goes way back.
Way back.
Way back.
Yeah.
Really?
And that was here when the old train came in.
That's the first
Yep.
time I've. Thanks.
Okay.
Better.
Yeah, we're getting there. We're moving.
Yeah,
We're
I'm
making
getting it, now
progress.
getting into kind of a range.
Yes. At least we have something to talk about,
Yeah.
you know? I mean,
My head's not going like this.
no, I mean,
But I think it's good to have a kind of a starting off.
good to
point.
have a framework.
And then, you know, the public, I think, you know, can be able to see this meeting, see kind of the presentation, get a kind of general idea of perhaps what they think or what they'd like to offer to the discussion.
So we don't meet on September 6th. There's a state primary.
And Bailey, do we have anything else in the director's report to bring up or?
Sorry, I don't think so.
Dinner.
Yes, definitely better. Yes, so we don't have a meeting this first Tuesday because of the state primary, which is September 6th. So our next meeting will be September 20th. I think that's correct. Yes. All right. Is there
Motion
any
to adjourn.
more business?
So moved.
Motion made,
Second.
seconded.
Seconded.
Discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any nays?
I just need to grab some of your signatures before you leave.
Good
the
job,
honorary.
Bailey.
Yeah, nice job. Thank
Yeah,
you.
very good.
A lot of thinking.
We're getting the hang of it.